This is Ben Wheeler, friend of Imagineyourgoddess, bringing you another deck profile. This one's going to be pretty quick. It's a Dark Band Dragon deck for Star Vaders, and I think it'll be of interest to people. Let's start with the triggers. Start with the starter. Damn. Starter's Unicorn, pretty standard. There's actually very few Link Joker decks will depart from him. There's cards like Selenium, as well as a few other ones that are more like generic ones, like a LB4 if it hits a Vanguard, you know, put it in the soul and draw a card. This is a indirect plus to you, because let's say you break ride, which is lock, side, back row. You also use him for a triangle lock, so you only really need to run a perfect shield, or two perfect shields if you're fighting a very creative raging form. To guard against any attack that could come against. So you get every turn, unless you get a draw trigger or some other direct card advantage, you will gain 3 cards at grade 3. He helps you save one of them from being used to defend yourself next turn, because like it is not, you're probably at limit break, and they're probably not running stands, and they probably have a natural crit somehow, especially if you're playing like Dimensional Police. So he's good. What decks don't run him? Chaos Breaker sometimes runs Selenium. Also, Freeze Ray Dragon may run Selenium, as it's most of their locks, as most of Freeze Ray's rocks are not on its own turn. But that's not important right now. Set him to the side. He's also useful because even though I've got 5 non-Star Vader cards, the AK booster and a Opener of the Black Gates, he can sort them out by counterblasting them, because Dark Band Dragon cannot use them. The Tecton Nebula Lord can, because Nebula Lord is just Star Vader because he's Star Vader, rather than any particular reason. Setting him to the side. Standard, crit, draw, heal, 4 heal, 4 crit, 7 crit, 5 draw. Why do I need 5 draw? Because I need slightly more card advantage. Like Mega Colony, Link Joker is balanced because they themselves do not bring card advantage to the table. Why is Chaos Breaker good? Because he has his own inbred card advantage, as well as a part of field destruction for the other opponent. With Chaos Breaker, I would actually maybe run even less, but I don't know what I'd replace him with. 4 at least, certainly. But with this deck, we need 5, maybe even 6, but that's personal preference. I don't like running 6 draws because they're just 5k shields. Alright, let's talk about grade 1s. Opener of the Black Gates. If your opponent has 2 or less cards, and this is placed on the rear guard, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. This is helpful for milling out grade 3s. Grade 3s are pretty useless in this deck. Also, it helps mill out Mobius breaths later in the game. They're not useful except on the Vanguard circle. Let's see. 4 Lanthaniums. Every time you lock a card, as in lock it out as an active thing rather than, say, an auto thing on your opponent's turn, it gets +2 card. Very explicitly, it says when your opponent's rearguard is locked due to an effect from one of your cards, if you have a Link Joker Vanguard, this unit gets +2 k until end of turn. What does this mean? You break ride, this becomes a 11k booster, or even an 11k attacker. And that's good. 2 of them in a row suddenly become a 22k column, and that hits numbers. It's really a staple in most decks right now. As Chaos Breaker, not so much, because Chaos Breaker isn't really all about locking. It's about locking very few things and then gaining huge advantage from them. But in decks like it's Dark Band Dragon, this is good because it means that I control when I lock. And I can lock 3 times in a turn, even 5. 5. Tired. I often give these, I bought a case, as you know, and I give these away to for free to some starter people who buy like the trial decks and stuff. But unfortunately, I left all that stuff in Springfield. Real quick, 4 perfect shields, 4 binary star twin, hollow twin blades binary star. What's good about this card? It's 8K. You may ask, why do you need it to be 8K? Because 8K hits cross rides. Are there any cross rides? No. But quite frankly, I don't like running Fermiums. I don't like running. I might run Palladiums, to be honest, because Palladiums keeps the front row tapped. Can't keep the front row tapped. But there's really nothing better right now to run here that really makes it pop, as well as conserve counterblasts and other things like that. And it's quite frankly a staple card of Link Joker. Emergency 16K column and the like. Also, it helps Darkman Dragon hit 21K, 20K, big numbers, but I'll talk about that in its appropriate time. Mobius Breath Dragon, early lock. In this current meta, what people usually do is they have a Vanguard and then like a 10K attacker. That's an option, a 10K attacker. But it's really stupid card on the rearguard circle because it's just a 9K with no abilities. It might as well be a 10K, but that would be OP or something. Because actually, yeah, it would be OP because what usually happens is if you're 10K, you could just throw down a 10K shield, 10K defense with the 10K shield. That's like 20. That's with this booster, which is what most people boost. I don't. If I have the option to not, I will not. I will use like Hem or something. It's 14K. Well, 10K to 20K can't be hit without some shenanigans, which don't exist. So, I run 4 because I want to guarantee using this advantage, because the advantage does help. It's like removing an entire attack from your opponent, as well as, say, bringing, like, this card, a 9K all of a sudden. And that's usually boosting something. And that means that they either have to take another damage, hopefully you critted them or something, rather than, add a pumped up column, rather than what they would do is usually just say toss down a 10K or just take it. It changes how opponents react to it, and that's a lot stronger than a lot of people realize. Vanguard isn't so much about, the best card in the game, it's about how you manipulate your opponent into losing to you. And part of that is critting them, etc., etc. But also it's the psychological game of the fact that I am making a card you spent from your hand early game, which is very hard to make back as actual card advantage, worthless. And a lot of decks suffer under that sort of thing, especially ones that rely on early rushes or, power columns, that sort of thing. I've won games great suck at this deck because they constantly had to guard it. And I'm like, 4, Star Vader Radon. 12K attacker for Star Vaders. He's good because he's a 12K attacker. He hits 21K very easily, especially with the on-command locks and Lanthanium. And this guy, he can hit numbers. And, that's good. Numbers is always good. Okay, so Furious Claw Vader, Star Vader, Neobium, excuse me. When your opponent's rearguard is locked from an effect from one of your cards, and you have a Link Joker, Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2K. So, ideal turn will be a 3 lock. Both of these cards get plus 6K, so in other words, 16K becomes 28K. Am I thinking that right? 16, 12, yes. Becomes 28K. That's numbers. That's really big numbers. To compare to, let's say, no triggers, and I'm facing Dote, swing 28k, they have to put down 2 10k shields. Or a perfect shield. And that's 2 cards from their hand. They've probably perfect my Vanguard and 10k the other column. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 cards from their hand on command. That's pretty good. Problem is you don't see this all the time as often as you like and in the perfect formations you like. But that's Vanguard. What you gonna do? Lost track of my own themes. Whatever. Lastly, teched in Nebula Lord. Nebula Lord is too good not to tech in. When set 13 comes out, I will change this to a Chaos Breaker because Chaos Breaker is better than Nebula Lord. Also, he plays better to what I want. I want cheap locking. Chaos Breaker is a discard lock, but at the same time, that's any card in the field. And if his Limit Break is active, he gains advantage back from it. The key of Chaos Breaker is, of course, prolonging this advantage as long as possible while keeping your opponent's front row locked via Palladiums and discarding cards. This guy is all about beat face. You break ride, 3, boom, boom, 9k across the field. All of a sudden, this is a 26k column turns into a 35k column. Let's just put it like that. Radon becomes 21k by itself. That's really, really good, as you may have guessed. So, putting him aside, tech. Put anything you want. Put 4 in there. Just 8 grade 3s. 4 Star Vader Infinite 0 Dragons. Back when Link Joker Trial Decks came out, the reason why they were so good is that they had 4 of these, and this guy was out as a promo. But that's not important right now. Break Ride. Plus 10k to Vanguard. Lock a front row unit and a back row unit. For free. So, with any number of cards, you can immediately turn it into a 3 lock of some formation or other. Personally, I don't actually favor the triangle lock. Partly because that if you don't have perfect shields, their opponent will just put the triggers on the Vanguard. So in other words, if they would get a double trigger, and they would normally put it on a rear guard, because that's what the psychology is, they're putting it on their Vanguard, and that breaks your shield, and then all of a sudden your advantages are worthless, and you could even be dead. You know, that's not a good situation to be in. So I usually choose, like, let's say 12k attacker, 9k attacker, and then boosters. I do lock, and then keeping a 9k here, because this is 10k, 11k. 9k's not gonna hit it. So I'm kind of safe if they don't get any triggers. So they attack, what, a rear guard? Probably expendable. The key to success in Link Joker is break riding over break riding. Doesn't always happen. That's fine. That's why I have Opener of the Black Gate. Just in case. Just in case. 3 of these guys. He's the real ace of the deck. His limit break is simple. That'll be 4. Counterblast 1 Star Vader. I only have 5 non-Star Vaders. I'm probably going to up that to 1 non-Star Vader. Or 3 non-Star Vaders, you know, depending. But that's in the future, because I completely forgot they have 10k attackers, and I need to find where they went. Choose one of your... Counterblast 1, Star Vader with your name. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the back row and lock it. Here's why that's good. It is effect that happens at your command when you want to, any part of the turn that you want, of course, except not battle or during the main phase, excuse me. So in other words, you build your field the right way with all the Lanthaniums your heart could desire, and then you start beating your face in. The problem is, of course, is that he doesn't give any abilities, but at the same time, there's Counterblast 1 Star Vader in a deck that's 90% Star Vaders for a lock. That's good. The second ability is simple. When this unit attacks, if the number of rearguards you have are more than your opponent's, this unit gets plus 3k till the end of turn. Not as stellar as some, which is usually on attack or when it's boosted, but hey, 21k columns. More than 21k columns. depending on how your field is set up. And you know, numbers are damn important in this game, and this you will usually hit numbers. Also, it will mess up your field. Like I said, I don't favor the triangle lock. I favor the boop 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 lock. Also, it's more cost efficient. Break ride, lock, lock, lock. Second turn, lock, unicorn, lock. Because the unicorn can't lock without something else being locked. And then, let's say I have a perfect shield and a couple 5Ks. I would lock, on the final turn I get to lock something, lock either here or here. Depending on which is more dangerous. Like, I lock this one so the 9K can't hit me. You know, that sort of thing. Anyway, this has been Ben Wheeler, the Mercenary King, with a Darkman Dragon deck. This is actually a decently cheap deck for Link Joker. Assuming, of course, you think that Link Joker has to have perfect shields and infinite zero dragons. Which it sort of does. I am not going to lie to you. It sort of does. The tech is just there to be tech, rather than, you know, really be the game changer and the strategy, the winning image. And anyone can make this. You know, it's not hard. It's not hard. I actually helped a kid make it last Saturday, and you know, all I needed to do was give him these, and he was good. I hope to see more of Darkman late in the future, but I doubt it. It's a perfect beginner deck for Blink Joker. All right, have a good evening. Imagineyourgoddess and the Mercenary King out.